This is your weekend market review for Saturday, September 21st, 2024. Let's go. Hey everyone, this is my channel to help investors and traders develop a probability-based mindset to succeed. Also try and keep friends informed of what's going on in the markets and the economy, and also a little real estate content as well. This is Dan Max at eXp Realty, aka the Trading Agent, and this is your weekend market review for Saturday, September 21st, 2024. Great week of trading. Again, a lot of us anticipated some of these moves up and potentially layering into the short. Now, again, a lot of folks have skepticism on anything near term, which I get. The market is not going to be easy going into an election, post FOMC 50 basis point cut. We got to talk about the probabilities. We got to talk about what to expect and how to be safe, because in my opinion, the upside, define your risk. Be careful, because I think there's actually more risk reward going down near term. And again, the charts will provide the evidence. We don't like to just make assumptions based on macroeconomics only, because again, never met a billionaire economist. In the end, it's trying to do what the market's doing, following the money, following what the whales are doing, and being the best trader you can, knowing that small losses and wins are the key, right? You can deal with wins. Big losses don't help you out. New to the channel, check out the Discord room. Link is in the description below. Kind of just joking here with a friend in the Discord room. Bullish, look at the volume. I know it was an OPEX, but still, someone knows something about Apple. Be careful out there. Again, in my opinion, tech is the easiest and best short, and we'll see exactly why. Check this out. Again, you're new to the channel, check out the Discord room, link description below. If you want to join Twitter, you want to join Twitter, you want to follow on Twitter. Again, posting tons of trades. I appreciate, again, all the love, support, generous donations. Follow, like, subscribe, notification bell on the platform you're watching on, or on YouTube, and check out the education videos. A lot of people ask questions. It's like, man, the answers are there. Check out the website too. Tons of insights, tons of great articles, links for promotions, all sorts of fun stuff. Again, turn profits into passive income and properties. I always say it backwards, properties and passive income, but not always passive income near term, especially with interest rates and how things are. If you need to chat, 30 minutes, use the link, description below, holler at your boy. So we know going into the next Fed meeting in November, which coming up, we'll be here before you know it, 6 weeks. They're anticipating another 50 basis point cut. I'm telling you, if they're cutting that fast, things are not that good. Everyone's going, oh, won't that reignite inflation near term? We'll see. I mean, honestly, we'll see. It takes most Fed actions have a 3, 6, 9 month lag time. And the irony is, again, I think people already saw that coming in the Fed rate. Again, obviously interest rates moved ahead of time. We played the TLT up, made sense. Hopefully you took advantage of that trade. And if you didn't hedge, no problem, no worries. I get it. But near term, this is where it's going to get a little dicey, right? And for the markets to really pull back, I think you're going to see to get a 50 basis point cut, to get more significant cuts in interest rates, you're going to need a weaker economy, and the markets will probably follow. That's the rationale here. Not about macro, but by evidence when you see what's going on. Bitcoin chopping, breaking the trend line, back to range highs again. I don't like shorting materials, commodities, anything that's inflationary, but again, it does have the potential to get whopped, especially like oil, gas, a lot of these names. But hey, if they hold up, they hold up. Remember, money will rotate. It doesn't get destroyed. And so in my best opinions, the safest, I guess best, and let's not use the word best, the safest plays are the ones that have the least downside. Natural gas seems like one of them. But again, I'm looking for lower prices later. I'll get them. They always do. TLT, again, we talked about the Fed meeting and how everybody anticipated what, right? The markets, rates to go down. We're like, guys, the rates have already been going down. Look at the TLT. I mean, just even since freaking July. So worth a watch, right? 10%. You do the math on it. It's a half a point in the Treasury market, and you've got another half off the top too. So it's pricing in. It's not like interbank lending rate is totally different. Just keep that in mind, okay? So near term, expecting some pullback. I would love to see the 95s. If we don't get it, that's all right. I'm hedged out, and if I get knocked out of the trade because my hedges get called out, so be it. Said the dollar, again, watching this, it seems to be, man, strong but not strong, right? Weak but not weak, right? It's like seems to be chopping in this next big range. It's hard because the basket of currencies around the world are all trash. We got the 15 handle, finally. God, VIX, this is what I was telling people in the Discord room. Like, it's really hard. The FOMC meeting with a OPEX, going into what's going on in the world, I mean, the big first cut of a cycle, we got the 15 handle. This is, again, worth and again, in my opinion, the risk becomes worth the reward potentially for shorting. Does this make sense? Right. SPY. Breaking out in double dojis. This action is very, again, very options expiration ChopX action. Watch the action. We get back under the 565, you know what happens. QQQ, again, this is what I think is the easiest short. Started buying SQQ and some of these other names. Again, go watch P2. He said somewhere in the 480s. Man, we got all the way to the 486. Higher than I thought, but I didn't layer in until SQQ until Thursday. It made sense then. I'm like, man, we're retesting the range highs. Why the freak not? Why not? Now, again, watch what happens. You get over it. All right, you can stay bullish if you really believe that the markets are going to go higher. Again, QQQ, which had been leading up this whole cycle, right, is now lagging. Be careful. IWM, as we talked about, watching the range highs. Big ass doji on volume. Backing off. Worth a watch. DIA, worth a watch again. At new highs. And again, remember 30 stocks, but watching. Just keep an eye. Gold, man, love the physical. Saw the breakout today. Was like, well, not much I'm going to do with it on a Friday. So again, I like gold, silver, all this stuff on pullbacks. But again, it's hard with the VIX at 15 to really trust some of these ancillary names like silver and the miners. You have to be careful with that. Hopefully that makes sense. Because again, if the market pulls back, the miners are part of the indexes. Throw the baby out the bathwater. GDXJ and again, GDX. I mean, they're right back at the highs, but not making new highs. So it's a little confusing, right? AG. Again, I like this one long term, but would love to see it back down towards the range lows. AEM, again, this one has been a boss, holding up really darn well. Worth a watch. Newmont, holding up near the highs. Pass, chopping around. Makes sense. I mean, again, we like these names. Again, silver is obviously the riskier of the two. But when they go, they go. And so it's not really like silver's leading. That's where it makes me a little conscious to tell people just please be careful. Because again, I'm not saying go short, but wait for dips, wait for pullbacks, wait for conviction potentially. Because at this point, it's tough to know near term. Again, but money seems to be rotating into stuff for safety. Taiwan Semi, again, we talked about shorting. Again, we hit all these levels in tech, backed off. Micron. I mean, we talked about this one chopping around. Watch the 20-day. AMD hits resistance, backs off. Okay. Worth a watch. Again, all the levels, right? NVIDIA, same thing. Hits our trend line. Really wanted to see the mid 120s. Didn't get it. Look, hits our trend line, backs off. Perfect. Boom. SMCI seems to be holding up pretty well. Again, short getting squeezed, 20-day. Said we'd get to the 20-day, but I thought it'd be a little higher up. Now what? Just be careful. Adobe gets smoked on earnings. I mean, it looks like it's game over, in my opinion. Apple, talked about this was I wouldn't say the easiest short, but this was a gift on Friday. I know some people are looking for it to break out. I'm sitting here like, no, you got to be absolutely crazy to think that. Honestly, look at the action, look at the volume. We'll see if it follows through. Now, again, if it does, anything is possible, but just be careful of temporary traps. We talk about retest, moves above that fail, right? Lower highs. I mean, again, there's multiple repeating pattern potentialities, but at the end, you got to use the evidence for what it was. And this just doesn't look good. Like any retest now becomes an easy ass short with a tight stop. Amazon, chopping around. Watching this gap fill, I'd probably be watching the 192. Again, Bezos can't sell fast enough every time it pops. Curious if he'll do that again. Questions, thoughts, concerns, leave a comment below. I appreciate it. Meta, this one, strong. Don't know what to say. Going into the election, looks pretty good. Broke out. Something I wouldn't now is, again, is it continue on or is it a trap? That's your guess, but I wouldn't be shorting that one. CRM, again, to me, Apple and NVIDIA are the easiest. Hits the 200-day. Talked about that as a gift. Man, I might have to put that back on the radar. Guggenheim said watch the 165 area. Pretty close. 50-day. That looks good for shorting. Microsoft, again, just use the references. You can be wrong. Fills this little gap kind of. I don't know. This one's a tough one because, again, I personally think all the mega cap tech is going to get slapped around. Reverse, like money will come out of it, but worth watching. NDAQ, again, I like this short long term. Makes absolute sense to me. But however, hey, traps are traps. Up is up. I had some puts that expired worthless. I think I've been talking about trying to be fully transparent. All right, come back to it. watching next week. Again, the Monday, Tuesday post OPEX can be kind of fun, interesting. So MicroStrategy, check this out, right? We talked about it, breaking the trend line. All right, if it, fill this gap. This is what's hard, man. I really want to see this thing break out, right? If it's really going to go. Like, you got to get over this 150s. And again, obviously Bitcoin, just watching it, just be careful on it. Because again, this thing goes in spurts. And again, if it can, Bitcoin's about to break out over 71,000 because of the Fed's pivoting. So be it. It just seems like it's not leading like gold is. Just, does that make sense? Like, I want it when I really believe Bitcoin, silver, all these things are going to go, they're all going to be like gold, but they're not there yet. Netflix holding up at the highs. Roblox, we talked about the fake breakout potential, but played to the upside. Some people don't remember. We played that to the upside. Love it. Pan W. Check this out, right? Holding around the 50-day again. I like this company long term because Pelosi likes it. Tesla, we said we'd fill the gap. You're welcome. You're welcome. We did. Talked about this with a lot of folks. I mean, I guess that's, I mean, which gap do you want to say it needs to fill? I mean, this is the gap. But I'm just kind of just watching, like looking at it real quick. It's pretty solid. Now what? Near term, probably chop. Just be careful. Does that make sense? Insight again. I think they get bought out at some point. Watching this one hold up pretty well around the 67s. I'd like to see it in the 50 handle. Pfizer looks like it's trying to like build a base to break out. This one's tough. Again, it's holding trend, but it's not really going anywhere. McDonald's, again, this makes sense up here. Potentially could get stuck. DKNG, right? We like this one as a short here. Makes sense at the 200-day. Again, defined risk. It's just like buying a dip at a defined risk bottom. I like this here, up here. It makes sense to short. Airbnb, we talked about the trash floats last. Wow, look at that. Right, everybody's like, oh, they're going to accentuate or restart the whole cutting cycle. Airbnb's back. All right. I mean, we'll see what happens. I'll be watching what happens to get up here. Worth a watch. Costco, again, holding up pretty darn well. Is what it is. 20 days the key. We've talked about this one. Starbucks, big fan of it going nowhere for a while. Again, you get a big up move and now it needs to consolidate. Just like when you got the big down move, it consolidated at the bottom. I mean, have they really done anything better yet? That's the question. Federal Express earnings showing economic weakness. Kapow. Yikes. Again, we'd like to short on this, but man, it's really hard to play earnings. So look at bull trap. And you see how we can make up moves and then pull the rug? That's my favorite formation. I feel like we're doing that in the SPY. Go look at the SPY. New highs, but no one else is confirming. Caterpillar popping up. Interesting action inside day on a Friday. Doji sandwich, novice gap. Again, worth watching. But again, Caterpillar material names, probably not the ideal shorts as we've talked about. Right? Deere holding up well. We talked about this one being bought at 340s, going into earnings, looking good. Nucor, steel names, chopping around. Again, I like these long term. I struggle with pulling the trigger down here. That's all. X, we said this one's going to get bought out. I mean, anything in the 20s made sense. Again, I like the 28. I even like the 23 better. Again, because if you get a recession, these material names will get cremated. I just hope people, again, that's just part of the beast. Right? And that's when, at the bottom, those to me, and in my opinion, have the most upside. Watching these just chop around. Arrow, we like. Everyone likes chopping around. Again, I like Junior Copper, CCJ. I mean, look at the nice move on Friday. This gap up. Again, letting the material names come. And again, this is the thing. Like if you're long materials and it works, cool. I was talking to a few people. They're just not shorting certain tech, and I'm like, or financials. I'm like, that's okay. It doesn't matter. My opinion, right, wrong, indifferent. You do what works, and if the market's paying you and it's working. Again, I said that I think the probabilities of longer term, if you disappear, if you, again, pull the plug, disappear, in my opinion, you will see these names higher in a year from now, much higher. NTR, again, liking to seeing these names getting chopped around, popping around. AA, XLF now, near term. This is where, again, let's dig into this one. This is where I was pulling in shorts. People are like, why are you shorting? You basically have a reference at the high. It's simple. JP Morgan, this one is another one. Options on are cheap for Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan, really simple. 50-day, and I would even say venture maybe even a 20-day pop. If really worst case, again, Morgan Stanley shorting this one makes sense to me. Into the ranges. Oh, it's breaking the trend line. Okay, we'll see if that sustains. Bank of America, again, Buffett can't sell this fast enough. Watch the ranges. I mean, some of these puts are so cheap on this stuff. Goldman Sachs, right? Holding up, chopping around. Again, we like these names. XBI, I know some folks shorten this one up at the highs. Makes sense. Range. Again, don't overthink it. You have defined risk with defined reward, or unlimited reward potentially. When I say unlimited, like it can drop more than it can probably rise near term. XHB, look at the housing index, y'all. If that's not toppy-ish, I don't know. Again, then it's consolidation, and I guess it's going to rip later. But man, that looks really sneaky. Wide open. Huge ranges at highs. 10, we talked about solar bouncing, failing. Again, if oil starts ripping, be careful though. Solar can't pop. ENPH, again, we talked about the 120s. Nice short for solar. Interesting action today, like nothing. Just drops down, pops right back. Looks like a trap though, doesn't it? Doesn't look like a trap. I mean, at least near term, it should go down. Oil and gas, let's do it. Let's finish it there. Nice bounce. We talked about oversold rallies. Again, we talked about all this stuff. UNG, again, I hate this stock. I've told you, but hey, you know what? I know some people are trading. Congrats. Again, I like the KOLD short. I've said that many, many, many times. You guys get my point. Really hope we see somewhere in the 80s. If not, it's all good. XOP, talked about near term. Like, be careful up here. Said on Friday or Thursday is like, I don't like the upside near term. Nice bounce. Again, if you played it like we recommended, awesome sauce, CVE, right? Here you go. Worth a watch. 16 area. Typically ranges between 16 and 20. Valero, again, these gasoline names are at the lows, chopping around. If they're going to bounce, they should bounce soon. ExxonMobil. Makes sense here. We talked about this one bouncing. Look at that. Okay. Chopping around. Oxy. I thought this one would be up more. I mean, let's call it what it is. I thought this would bounce off the mat. No. Nothing. All right. Again, maybe Buffett's just like, I'm not buying the stock. I'm not propping it up yet. EQT, again, we like these long-term, these big choppy ranges. They look really good. And last but not least, Flex LNG. All right, check this out. Again, I think we'll be natural gas exporters. Huge, big chop ranges. All right. Anyone have any questions? Please leave a comment below. Let me know how I can help. If you're buying, selling, investing in real estate, and you're not reaching out, don't know why. Love to help you out. Finding great agents for folks in the Discord room and everywhere in general. Because again, you don't know who's good or not. Let me interview an agent. It'd be like another doctor interviewing another doctor, or your profession interviewing your future coworker because you've been doing the job. Let me help you out. Again, if you go click on Zillow, realtor.com, they're going to put you with somebody that could be good, they could be great, they could be terrible. You never know. You're talking to your uncle, your nephew, who knows? Are they really good? They have experience? Why not work with the best? You deserve it. Again, why would you not want to work with someone who is outstanding at their job and profession? You're not looking, again, if you got into an accident, you'd want a great attorney. You needed a surgery. You want the best doctors. Let me help you find that. So I appreciate all the love, support, generous donations. You guys are amazing. I'll holler at you later. Peace. Hey, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, stop by the Discord room. A link is in the description below. Also, if you'd like to help support more free content, the PayPal link is in the description as well. I appreciate your continued support of the channel.